Good morning. It is Monday, which means Monday movie review. And clap your hands for me. I actually finished this movie. This is what I'm going to be doing from now on. I'm going to be watching about 2 movies a week, which is not bad. And if one of those movies does not work out because I think it's icky or yucky or super boring or not great, I still have my second movie I can fall back onto and be like, okay, instead of reviewing number one, we'll review number two movie. So I finished this movie and actually I love it. It was fantastic. Um, I started it yesterday evening, and sometimes I get sidetracked because I have things to do, and sometimes people come into the front room, ask me questions, and my husband wants to discuss something. So sometimes I have to pause movies, which is not very great, not very beneficial when you're in this fantasy world. But last night it actually worked out pretty decently. I watched the movie almost all the way through. In like the last 20 minutes, all my children came home, my husband came home, they all came home from work. So I paused it, and then we did our "How was your day?" kind of thing, discussions. What adventures did you have at work? Do you have nice customers? And then I went to bed, and while I was doing my night medicine, I have to take my night insulin shot in the evening. I turned on the movie and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to finish this movie. I have 20 minutes left. Wonderful. And it worked out excellent. I finished the movie. I was not disgusted like I was with my last movie. We will be reviewing Austenland today. And I am a bit of an idiot because I was under the impression it is a 2022 movie. And I'm just like, now that I think about it, I'm just like, Christina, you didn't pay attention. The main character had a super, super ancient phone. You know, the movie was from 2013. That was, almost 10 years ago. A lot of things, technologically have changed. But Christina didn't pay attention at all. So let's review this movie now. I did not look up the budget for this movie because I felt like I don't want to do that. I researched the cast. I, spent a long time downloading pictures from the cast so I could insert it into this video in a little bit. I researched the storyline a little bit, but I didn't research the cost of this movie. Okay. For all I know, this movie cost $2 billion because I think this movie is so wonderful and it's worth it to me, but I'm sure it is not. The movie is currently playing on Netflix, which was another hint, which should have given it away because Netflix has a lot of older movies. Obviously, I'm back. I had to run out because my husband bought me some fishies today. I think about 7 days ago, we were gifted a fish tank and we spent the last week or so cleaning it up, getting the pH balance to a good level. And today, my husband, isn't he romantic, went out with me to a pet store and he let me pick some nice fishies. Of course, we made sure they get along with each other. We talked to the pet store sales clerk, and she reassured us all the fishies, get along with each other, and they're all swimming in the aquarium peacefully. Let's talk about Austenland, a film released in 2013. I love romantic comedies, and sometimes I'm disappointed where I'm like, oh, this one was a bit cheesier, and then other times I'm just like, this one was excellent, perfection. And this is how I felt with Austenland. First of all, I used actors who could actually act. It was not just a cheesy romance movie and nobody could act, and you could clearly see, oh, yeah, this is no. The acting was superb. In the main roles, there were Jane Hayes, played by Kerry Russell. Many of you know her from Felicity, a show in the late 90s that went till 2002. She got her career started on the Mickey Mouse Club. I personally know her from the miniseries Into the West. I absolutely love miniseries. I love the North and South miniseries. I love the Thornbird miniseries. I love Into the West. It's a miniseries about, I guess what you would say, an American family that lived in, I guess, kind of early American time. I think it was after the revolution, what I'm thinking, and one of their sons decides to venture out from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States. That is why it's called Into the West. And Kerry Russell played a character. I believe she played, I think, one of the main character's cousins. And she did an excellent job. Kerry Russell is a great actress, and I'm going to insert her picture right here. Beautiful woman, very good actress, and she played the main role in Austenland. In Austenland, there were, of course, several other actors, obviously, because otherwise it would be like a very boring movie just having one person, kind of like Castaway. But I think Tom Hanks did an excellent job. Excellent job. But of course, it's always better and nicer to have more actors. Also, in the movie is Mr. Henry Nobley. It's one of the characters. Very interesting name. Played by J.J. Field. I hope I'm pronouncing this correct. If I'm not, I'm very sorry. John Joseph Field. He's known for playing on the TV show New Amsterdam. Also producer known for Captain America, The First Avenger, Centurion, and Austenland. Interesting. I will be adding his picture right over here. Very handsome man, very good looking, very nice actor, and he really did a good job as Mr. Henry Nobley. So let's continue on with the cast members. We already talked about Kerry Russell, J.J. Field. The next character in this movie is Martin. Martin, the stable hand, played by Brett McKenzie from New Zealand. He is known for playing in The Hobbit, a character called Lindir. Also, he is known for playing in the Lord of the Rings movie series. Also in this movie, the wonderful, beautiful Jennifer Coolidge. She is a fantastic actress. She's funny. She's talented. Many of you know her from playing Stifler's mom in American Pie in 1999. Can you believe it? It's 20 plus years, and Still looking very fabulous. She plays a character called Miss Elizabeth Charming. Also in this movie, and this took me a little while, he looked very familiar in the face. I kept thinking, I know this actor from somewhere. James Callis as Colonel Andrews. Obviously, Bridget Jones' Diary, he's her best friend Tom. Also, Battlestar Galactica. Hello, Christina, wake up. Handsome fella, did an excellent job. Many of you may remember Jane Seymour as Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, a very popular show in the 90s. She played a character called Miss Wattlesbrook in Austenland. She did an amazing, excellent job. Obviously, she's a very well-seasoned actress, and doing the research on her, I learned some things, and one of the most interesting facts I learned is that she posed for Playboy at 67 years of age and is considered the oldest woman to be photographed for the magazine. And I'm like, I'm 41 and I don't feel like, doing this. It's just like, I'm not as comfortable with my body, but she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous, and I'm sure she does a lot of things to stay gorgeous, healthy eating and fitness, and of course, good genes. Of course, good genes. Also in the movie, I'm going to have to make this very fast, but I didn't want to forget some of the side characters. Also in the movie was, let me see, down here, the names, so I pronounce them correctly. Georgia King as Lady Amelia Cartwright. She's an actress from Scotland, known for Vice Principals, Merlin and Poirot. Also, Rupert Van Sittard as Mr. Veddlesbrook. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. He's known for Andor, Bridgerton, The Crown, Game of Thrones, and Outlander. So he definitely is a seasoned actor, probably better known in England. I believe this is where he's from. And also another character and final character I'm introducing here, Ricky Whittle as Captain George East. He started as a model for Reebok. Now he's known for the 100, the movie Napoli Ever After, American Gods, and his Instagram is Ricky Whittle. If you want to look him up, he's young and handsome, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who like follow him to see what he's up to. So now that I'm finished with my introduction of all the characters and the actors and their background, I'm already 14 minutes in, and I'm trying to make this video actually at a decent size so people don't have to sit there for 2.5 hours and hear me blab and blab and blab. So let's get this going, and in a little bit of a faster way, more in a Christina funny way. So anyway, I watched this movie yesterday, Austenland, and I loved it. I thought it was so romantic. The movie is about the character Jane, an American lady who doesn't have the best of luck in man, and she loves Jane Austen, the author, her books, her stories, and even her house has a lot of the Jane Austen story type charm. She decides to take her life savings, at least that's what we're meant to believe, but they didn't really tell us how much she actually did spend. So are her life savings like $10,000, or did she spend $20,000? Either I didn't pay attention that well, Or they didn't tell. I'm pretty sure they didn't tell us. So she gets this idea that she wants to travel to England to participate in a vacation, a role play vacation, where the characters dress up kind of like Jane Austen characters, if you know what I mean. I'm going to add some pictures in so you guys see Jane Austen type of characters like Mr. Darcy. If you've seen these movies, there's Pride and Prejudice is one of the more famous books of Jane Austen, what was turned into a movie, and I think they've made like 7, 8, 9, 200 versions of that book. Pride and Prejudice. Most people know it. My favorite version is Pride and Prejudice Zombies. Good version. Kind of like that too. People dress up fancy, but people also fight zombies, so that's right up my alley. Anyway, Jane decides to book this role-playing vacation. Okay, she spends a lot of her money. Her friend who's with her at the travel agency, complains at her, and you could do so many different things with this vacation. Money, but it's Jane's dream. You know what I'm saying? It's Jane's dream. And I'm thinking, okay, let Jane do what Jane wants to do. Because she wants to go to England. She wants to role play. She wants to have a good time. Jane arrives there at the airport. She meets Jennifer Coolidge's character, who's Elizabeth Charming. Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge. That name is very fitting, because Jennifer Coolidge is pretty charming and pretty funny. So Jane and Elizabeth get picked up from the airport by a beautiful old-style car, kind of like Jane Austen feels, and Jennifer, also known as Elizabeth Charming, gets to ride in the car because she booked the wonderful platinum package. I think that's what they referred it to. But Jane, who spent all her life savings, did not. So she has to ride in the back of the car, which looks like the luggage, where they usually put luggage. And I'm thinking to myself, that's quite rude. She spent her life savings. And if she spent her life savings, I don't even want to know how much the Elizabeth character spent. So they arrive, and Elizabeth gets this beautiful room, very old style, very British, very Jane Austen. You feel like you're in a fairy tale. And Jane gets kind of like the servants' quarters. Part of the story is, part of the vacation is they get character assigned to them. And you think to yourself, okay, maybe they're going to make, Jane maybe a rich lady or whatever, a baroness or a duchess, something. They make her her storyline. They give her the storyline of her orphan. She's an orphan. While Elizabeth Charming, the character Jennifer Coolidge plays, is the rich heir to the charming fortune. Now that I'm thinking about it, did they joke with us? Because the charming is also the toilet paper. Like they're saying she was the heir to the toilet paper. No, I don't think they did. Let's trust them. So anyway, they have all these different things that they do. Obviously, they're not allowed to use any modern things. So no cell phones. There's no computers. Everything what is up to that time period. They dress like ladies of that time period. Everything from the silverware to the dishes to the cups, what they drink, all their little, hobby things they do, it's all geared around that time period. I would have put up with it for like a day or two, and then I would have been like, I need to check my Facebook. I need my photography equipment. I need my cell phone because there's some things I want to discuss with friends. I want to communicate. I don't think I would have kept sane in the old timey thing. So Jane, who has only booked the small package, you know what I'm saying? The small basic vacation package, doesn't get to participate in a lot of the things. I don't know what other things they're doing. So far, they've done needlework, they've done hunting, they've done reading and playing cards and hanging around with the guys. During one of those times when Jane cannot participate, she meets Martin. Martin, the stable hand. He's dressed in old-timey clothing, obviously, looking handsome, very handsome and sexy. He is not an actor. He's just a stable hand, or so we think. Jane and Martin grow close. They spend time together, some kisses are shared, some cuddling, picnics, walks, stuff like that. But then when Martin sees that Jane kind of flirts with one of the other characters, which was not really flirting, it was just kind of like this role-playing romance stuff that Jane likes. Not really cheating. I mean, they weren't really together, and that other guy was just basically flirting with her. Old-timey flirting. So Martin gets mad with her and kind of, breaks things off, pushes her away. And I was always suspicious. I'm like, Martin, she didn't even really cheat on you. That was old-timey flirting, you know what I mean? When you read each other kind of poems and all this other stuff. There was no touching. She kissed you. She didn't kiss the other guy. Jane was kind of disappointed. Obviously, she likes Martin, but she doesn't really like him. They just met each other. They did some flirting and picnics, and they had some nice days, taking walks and stuff. She starts hanging out with, let me read his name correctly. She starts hanging out with Mr. What's his name? Henry Nobley. The other character. She starts hanging out with him a little bit, and I think Jane gets into her head that the Henry Nobley character, who is the actor that is employed by the hotel, is supposed to be her, I don't know, kind of like cosplay, romance, her actor, so she just kind of goes with it. But in the end, she just kind of like, I think she realizes she likes Henry Nobley, but she thinks to herself, he's an actor, we have no future. So she doesn't pursue the relationship. She didn't, give in to him. Of course, the actors, they're not supposed to be kissing the guests, not supposed to be becoming physical with them, but you can see that Henry Nobley wants to. He wants to kiss her. It happens. But Jane is just kind of like, nope, you're an actor. This is not real, which is smart. I would have probably done the same. So the experience, the vacation is coming to an end. Miss Jane Hayes talks to the lady that runs the cosplay hotel. I don't even think cosplay hotel is the correct name. Miss Wattlesbrook. That's her I guess role-playing name, Miss Wattlesbrook. Could have found a different name, but Miss Wattlesbrook sounds very Jane Austenish. They talk and they communicate, and yes, thank you. It was a great experience. Jane talks about the fact that Henry Nobley was kind of assigned to her, that she kind of already figured this out. There was her role playing, how her storyline was supposed to go, and Jane Seymour's character goes like, "No, he's not assigned to you. Henry Nobley's not assigned to you." And Jane goes like, "Huh?" You can see like, "What?" But he was so nice to me. And he wanted to kiss me. And we had so much fun talking. Miss Wattlesbrook. I hope that is pronounced correctly. It's such a weird sounding name. Miss Wattlesbrook goes, "Martin was assigned to you, the stable hand." And I'm just like this. It's like, what? Yes, Martin, who I thought for the last hour and a half was this kind, stable man that was romantic, that was single, lonely, just living his lonely life, taking care of the livestock, was an actor. So Jane is kind of shocked, but she's completely fed up with it. She knows that Henry Nobley is also an actor. Even though he was not assigned to her, Martin is an actor. So she doesn't believe anything, and she leaves. She leaves England, goes back home, takes down most of her Jane Austen decorations in her house. She's done with it. She's done with this romance BS. She's like, I don't know what she's thinking, but she's disappointed and angry, I'm assuming. And all of a sudden, then there's a knock at her door. A knock at her door. And she thinks it's her best friend. So she says, "Come on in. Come on in, my friend." At the door is Mr. Henry Nobley, who obviously is not Mr. Henry Nobley, was that's just his character. And he tells her that I think he says he's a nephew from the lady that runs this place. In reality, he's a history professor. That was actually his first acting gig. And he's truly and madly has fallen in love with her. And all of what she felt and she thought was just an act was not an act. It was real. He wasn't even assigned to romance her. I don't think he was assigned to romance anybody. He was just kind of there because he was a history professor, and it kind of fascinated him living in the past for a short while. So, Jane is like, "But Henry Nobley." At this point, it's not even Henry Nobley anymore. I don't even know his real name, which I'm going to look up now. I believe his character's name is Henry as well, but I'm not certain on the last name. And Googling is giving me a bit of a headache because it's not easy. Maybe it was his name. Maybe Henry Nobley was his name. Weird. Super weird, but anyway, they end up embracing in her little tiny apartment, kissing, loving, sharing love. And I'm thinking to myself, happily ever after. Of course it has to be happily ever after. Otherwise it makes no sense.